What's happening, guys? Right here again with the Club Global, teaching men around the world to be men of the world. And today we're going to teach you how to change your oil. And this is going to leak into a more broader topic of vehicle maintenance and how to be a responsible vehicle owner. So let's talk about it. Now, I personally prefer to do all the work on my own car because A, I like it, B, it saves me a lot of money, and C, it's just a learning experience. You know, I'm mechanically inclined, I like fiddling with that kind of stuff, and the more you know, the better off you are, right? I'm not advocating that everybody has to work on their own car, but every guy should know something about how their car works, how to maintain it, and what goes into it. Now, knowing a few things about what goes into maintaining and repairing certain parts of a vehicle will help you, even as a consumer who's bringing your car to a shop, be a bit more informed about what goes on, how long it takes, and so you don't get screwed in the bill by the mechanic. And so you know you're bringing it to a guy you can trust because he's not trying to put one over on you, charging you too much for an oil change. Okay? You'll see how simple and quick it is. You can do an oil change with some basic tools laying on your back in front of your house in your driveway, like I'm gonna do. So changing the oil, very basic maintenance for your vehicle. Probably the most common maintenance you do on your vehicle besides checking the tire pressure. Okay, every 3,000 to 5,000 miles on newer vehicles, newer motors, you can probably go up to 10,000 miles changing your oil. Internal combustion engine, a lot of moving parts, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of friction. The oil helps lubricate it, so change it regularly to keep your engine running smooth and to get rid of that friction that will destroy your engine over time. So today I'll be changing the oil on a 2007 GMC Yukon, but these basic steps and principles apply to changing the oil on any vehicle. So there's not a whole lot of variance. I mean, where the oil filter is located, what kind of filter you're going to buy, real specifics like that will be different. But generally, you're draining the oil, you're taking the oil filter out, putting a new filter in, and you're putting new oil in. That's how it works. Alright, so we're going to go over some basic tools you're going to need to get this job done. Let's assume you're doing this on your driveway, on your back, on the side of the road. You're going to need some ramps to get your vehicle up in the air so you can get underneath it. You're going to need a drain pan to drain the used motor oil into. You're going to need a funnel to pour the motor oil into so you don't make a mess. You're going to need some combination wrenches to get the drain plug on and off. You're going to need some gloves, some rags, some dirty clothes you don't mind ruining. And of course, you're going to need some motor oil. Figure out what kind of oil your vehicle needs and buy the right quantity of it. And you're going to need a new oil filter to replace the old one. So first thing is first, get your vehicle up on ramps so it's elevated so you can get underneath it. That way you can drain the oil and replace the filter. Make sure you set your parking brake so the vehicle doesn't potentially roll backwards, cause any hazards. Pop your hood open so you can get the oil fill tube and the dipstick, and also let some light down underneath the car for you. Alright, so changing oil is oftentimes dirty business, okay? It's going to be oil pouring out everywhere. So wear gloves, wear clothes that you don't care about, some dirty shop clothes, whatever, stuff you do yard work in, stuff you don't mind getting dirty, okay? That is first rule, wear crummy clothes, okay? Now, oil is going to pour out. Typical vehicle holds anywhere from 4 to 6 quarts of oil. So when you drain it, you're going to need a container to hold the oil in. Okay, so get a drain pan, something to hold your oil in. Okay, now this is the bottom of the engine in this particular vehicle. This bolt right here is the drain plug. When I unscrew this and pull it out, oil is going to pour into this hole. On this side of the oil pan is the oil filter. Once we drain out this oil, we're going to pull out the oil filter. A bunch more oil is going to come out when we pull that out. It's going to be a little messy. Let's get into it. And there goes our oil. Clean up your drain plug a little bit. Set that guy aside. We're going to put it back in after the oil's all out. You know, you just sit here and wait for the oil to drain. Just reflect on your day. Think about your life. Now is a good time to take a look under the bottom of your motor and your transmission here, and all your steering and suspension. Make sure everything seems in order. Make sure you don't have any kind of a lot of leaking going on, or anything's broken or worn out. This is just typical vehicle ownership. All right, know what's going on with your vehicle. Make sure stuff isn't broken. All right, and learn a little bit. We live in a great time to learn about this kind of stuff. There is unlimited resources online to figure out what kind of things could be wrong with your particular vehicle, what things to look for. If you don't know how something works or you're curious about it, Google it. All right, go on YouTube, find a video of a guy talking about it, like this video right here talking about changing oil in a GMC Yukon. There's tons of resources, limitless. All right, once the pan is empty, we just put that plug back in there. Snug it back up. You don't want to wrench it down, you'll ruin the threads. Just tight so that you can't unscrew it with your fingers. Okay? You don't want oil leaking out, but you also don't want to ruin the threads in there. Next, we're going to take off the filter. Whoa, hey there. You moved. Okay, so next we're going to change the filter. This is the oil filter in this particular engine, but depending on your vehicle, the filter will be somewhere else. It could be somewhere else below the engine. It could be off to the side of the engine. You may have to go through the hood to get to it. It could be up in the engine compartment towards the top of the engine. So keep that in mind. But this filter right here, we're going to take off. It's going to be a little messy. Now, pro tip and a product plug. I use K&N oil filters. K&N oil filters have a 1-inch hex on the top of them. So you can use a socket wrench to get them off, which is convenient. But if you don't use this particular kind of filter, you can use Fram filters. Fram have like a grippy thing on the top so you can get to them. You can also use oil filter pliers. It's a wide grip plier that can grab around the oil filter and twist it off. There's all kinds of ways. Sometimes they get a little seized on there. They're a pain in the butt. So that's why I use these particular ones, because I can just wrench it off with a socket. It's convenient. So we are going to position our drain pan below the filter here. I'm going to loosen this with my socket wrench. Here we go. Now I'm going to thread this off a bit, let the oil drain out. All right, now at this time we're going to install our new filter. Now, tip when you do this, there is going to be a little rubber gasket here on the end of the filter that mates with the engine. Make sure you lubricate that with a little bit of brand new motor oil. That will help make a better seal. Just always lube up that ring with a little bit of oil. Okay, that's what we're going to do right now. Just get a little dab of oil on your finger and then put it around that little seal there. Beautiful. Now, I'll thread that sucker on there. Now, you do not want to wrench this thing down crazy tight. You just want it to be as tight as you can get it with your hands, okay? Because as this engine heats and cools, it expands, contracts, that seal is going to get stronger between that filter. And then when you have to change this thing in 3, 5, 10,000 miles, whatever, it's going to be a bitch to get off of there if you have it wrenched on super tight. So you want it to be tight enough where it makes a good seal. It's not going to leak any oil, but not so tight that it seizes up on there and, come a few months from now when you're going to change it, you end up having to jam a screwdriver through there and wrench it off that way. That sucks. All right, oil's all drained, filters are placed. Now let's go top side, fill it back up. All right, now we're going to refill the oil. In this particular vehicle, the oil fill is right here on the top, on the side of the engine. You pull that cap off. Use a funnel. All right, you're gonna make a mess if you don't. Use a funnel. The bigger the better. This is kind of a small one, but does the job. Stick that guy down in there. And then we're just gonna start filling her up. And man, what kind of oil should you use? Like I said, it'll say in the booklet that came with your vehicle. If you don't have the booklet, just check online. Check your vehicle's make and model on the web. You'll find out what kind of oil to use. Typically, most all vehicles are going to use 5W30 or 10W30, 5W20, 10W20. Those are common weights of oil. And use synthetic oil, all right? I mean, I'm not going to get into a pissing contest on conventional versus synthetic, whether to use one or the other for high mileage or whatever. Just use synthetic, all right? It's superior. Synthetic oil has come a long way. The technology for synthetic oil is fantastic. Just use synthetic. I use Royal Purple. It's probably the most high quality synthetic oil that you can get at your typical everyday auto parts store. There's better ones you get online like AMSOIL. It's expensive but super nice. Another good alternative is Mobil 1. Mobil 1 synthetic is also really good. Now, this particular motor in this vehicle holds 6 quarts of oil, which is a pretty good amount. I mean, it's a large V8 engine. Check the capacity on your engine in your car. It might be 5 quarts, it might be 4, you know, just make sure you use the right amount of oil. And if you don't know for sure, just check the dipstick. As you're filling it up, pull out the dipstick, clean it off, stick it back in there, pull it out, and take a look on the line where the oil is. There'll be markers on the dipstick that tell you when it's full. So just go off of that. How often should you do this? Again, depends on your vehicle, depends on the mileage. All right, I mean, I change mine every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Newer vehicles, man, you can go 10,000 miles sometimes without changing them. It's good to go off the manufacturer's recommendation. Typically for high mileage vehicles, more frequency of oil changes is better, just because they are exposed to a bit more friction. All right, the engines are worn out, the parts are kind of worn out, so they're getting worn down a little bit. So reducing that friction will help increase the longevity of the moving parts in your vehicle. What do you do with your used motor oil? Bring it back to the hardware store where you bought it from. All right, Advanced Auto Parts, AutoZone, O'Reilly, Napa, whatever, they all have oil disposal service, and it's free. Just bring your drain pan full of oil there, and a guy will bring it out back and pour it into a big drum, and he'll give you the thing back empty. Easy as that. All right, so we talked about the importance of knowing general maintenance procedures for your car, knowing how it works, knowing what goes into it. Okay, we talked about how to actually perform the oil change. All right, what oil to use depends on your vehicle and your motor. Just look it up, man. Use the internet. There is tons of resources. Okay, use synthetic motor oil. A nice high quality synthetic motor oil will do wonders. Just be smart, stick to that. Okay, wear dirty clothes you don't mind ruining, because you're going to get dirty doing this stuff, especially on your back in your driveway. Man, you just need some basic tools. Okay, some combination wrenches, a funnel, all right, some ramps. You can pick those up at any auto parts store. They're pretty cheap. All right, if you got a car, you definitely want to use ramps, because it's going to be too low to the ground to get your body under there. That's that. Changing oil. Okay, very simple maintenance. Everybody should know how to do it. I'm not saying that you have to do it yourself. You can bring it to a shop, but just know what goes into it. Know a bit about how your vehicle works, how to maintain it. Okay, just try to make an effort to be a bit more mechanically inclined. Okay, this will help pique your curiosity in other things. How to fix some things around your house. Okay, how to fix problems with your computer or whatever. There's no problem in paying someone, an expert, to work on certain things for you, but know about it. Okay, have a working knowledge of the basics of maintaining the things in your life that you use. Okay, we'll have more videos about this kind of stuff, just basic maintenance on tools and equipment that we use in our everyday lives, so that we're not helpless. All right, this all goes into being independent, being self-sufficient. Okay, being a man of the world, being able to take care of yourself and being useful, all right, to yourself and to others. So with that, this is Ray signing out.